All right, how all you howdy cats and kittens. Uh, so apparently, uh, so the other night I did a video. I recorded, I should say, a video, and on the SCP 3241, the S Sommerfield, it was this guy who was reading out the report, and I think it's like the Vought, and I found out I'm like, I was pretty tired, and I was decently interested in the subject. Why don't I just look at the SCP source material, right? And just kind of describe it myself and go through some of the things I really liked about it. Pretty par for the course for some of the things I do, and plus, probably it's not the best recording to just watch 39 minutes of me watching a video and then at the end me explain something. So here we are. Now, so if you've not been on the internet, horror scene for some time, you might have missed the SCP Foundation. The SCP Foundation is a fictional organization that kind of contains the anomalies, which is just what the SCP just kind of looks for, these weird things like, right, and classifies them into their containment procedures, the level of world ending, um, yeah, go capacity. That's it. Sorry, I'm looking at my script like, what the hell is that word? Or just how like strange they are, just weird, right? Now, when talking about how these entities are usually showcased, it's usually in a report, like a scientific or like military, usually a little more on the military side, right? And like my favorite before this one was probably the living building that was making its stuff out of all sorts of materials, such as flesh, bone, steampunk, all sorts of stuff. But that was when I usually looked at about the first 10 to 20 of these SCP entries. Now there are over 6,000, I believe, of them, and they are various, kind of world, world ending, meme sort of things, all sorts of cool things. Now today is SCP 3241, the SS Sommerfield. Now the Keter class is used to classify something that is very hard to contain. The SS Sommerfield is one of these things. Now, I should note that this was my experience that I was really interested in this. Sorry, my hair is why I just took a shower. This was my experience that I really actually liked this one. It was almost short story level quality, which I thought was pretty cool. And, talking about Summerfield, a ship, and the ship was leaving from Jacksonville, Florida, heading to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Brazil. Sorry, I just love the one bit. It's like Brasilia. Oh, from Bill Cobbs. What is my lighting doing? Here, sorry. Let me just get that out of frame. Maybe that's throwing it off. Yeah. Now, the recovery process was impeded by Hurricane Georges. It was spelled with G's, so I don't think that was supposed to be Jorges. So, I don't know. And the Foundation employed, a full party of the Navy, U.S. Navy, mind you, U.S. Army, Air Force, and National Guard, and Coast Guard to kind of find out what happened to it. 6 months went by, nothing happened, right? And it was lost in the Atlantic Ocean. Now, the majority of the entry deals with the use of SRAs, and, SRA stands for Scranton Reality Anchor. And I'll get into that in just a quick second, just after and then the tale of a cowardly racist named Brian Browning, and a remorseful Dr. Bakshi, or Professor Bakshi, plus all the people who were caught up in Browning's bullshit. Now, the first account is on behalf of the SRA against Scranton Reality Anchor, and that is just a device. For these anomalies often bend space-time and all sorts of parts of reality, and what the Scranton Reality Anchor acts as an anchor to unbend what was bent, essentially trying to nullify the effects. Now, Mr. Daniel DeVorn is, it talks about how that these machines are more efficient than ever, and will be able to deal with anything that comes their way. And, I don't know if SRAs were used before, but this is my first time actually hearing about them. Now, next came Sherman Savory. He talks about how that's BS, and people manufacturing SRAs are really trying to just lobby for people to use them so that they get the money to make more, which is very topical and ironic by the end of this story, right? Slap. Next in the saga is the disappearance of the IRV Silent Spring. It went missing off the coast of Japan while doing an oceanic survey of fish. Now, 3 days later, Kansai Airport got a distress call from it says the EPIRB. I just imagine that's a distress signal system of boats and stuff. And a ship was launched, the Koyumaru, but this one was this mission kind of like to search on it got dropped after the meteors detected dangerous levels of ionizing radiation. Oh boy. And then that's when the Japanese government asked for the Foundation to just check in on this, right? So it's like the Scooby-Doo. It's like, hey, weird people, we got this weird thing going on in the ocean. Mind checking it out? It's like, yeah, sure, all right. Soings. And the Foundation just seems like anything as long as it's anomalous. If it ain't anomalous, you don't want it. But what they found was a living vessel. Now, granted, it was probably a little bit dead by this point, but it was pretty much living. The ship was found covered in a biome of bacteria and growths, and like fungi and insect and arthropods that functioned more like skin. It had airways, rudimentary lungs. It had blood system, vascular systems, and even a brain and neural system that went through all the crews at the time it was made. Now, this is actually very similar to how multicellular organisms work, right? Sorry, now the camera's on. Focus, I don't like it. Right? So, okay, imagine like a hollowed out ball, right? And the center of it is made up of cells, and the outside is made of cells. On the outside, it's a different cell than what's on the inside. But the inside is kind of complaining that it doesn't get any nutrients. And the outside is the one at surface level getting all the nutrients. Well, a compromise that could be made is that the outside forms ways for the inside to get nutrients. And that's essentially how a lot of multicellular life works, right? So I am a multicellular organism, we all are. On the outside, I have skin for protection of the internal structures, my muscle cells, bone cells. Bone cells provide the structure for other organisms to work. My digestive tract forms, a way for all my organs to get nutrients. My skull is protection for the biggest, most important organ. Well, I shouldn't say biggest, your skin's the biggest organ, but the most important organ to actually function and control all these sorts of things, because they're specialized to do a task to propagate a bigger unit that is the human being. And it's actually a very interesting kind of way of thinking about the life cell of a multicellular organism. It's pretty cool when you think about it in that context. And that's what really I thought was coolest about this particular ship, the RV Silent Spring. Now, mind you, that's all just a side effect of what really goes on here. Oh boy. Now, enter the racist Brian Browning, right? In the wake of the Silent Spring being found, it had come in contact with the Sommerfield. So this re-sparked, interest in finding the Sommerfield, which I believe, granted, I wrote this really quickly, but like I'm pretty sure they just saw, the Sommerfield pretty close to this. And like the Philadelphia experiment, the Sommerfield had altered this ship and its crew after coming near it. And the Foundation wanted to know why. Of course they do. Now, a team was led by Brian Browning, who wanted to throw caution to the wind and get to the bottom of it, thinking the SRAs would protect them. Yeah. Now, but those who are kind of smart, like, what is going on here? Let's see. Now, there was a supervisor, I think, called, what was her name? Leslie Horton, who's like, yeah, no, I don't think this would be safe at all. And another dude, the big brain, I think, was it Professor Bakshi? No, they're all saying, yeah, no. And Browning was being racist towards Bakshi because, he thought he was idiot. He didn't want to know, or that he was impeding, trying to usurp Browning's authority. It's always with these people. It's like that Raft video Wendigoon told me about. Not personally, but I watched the Raft video. That was interesting. And, in the same article, Professor Bakshi kind of states that, these things, these SRAs, wouldn't really help them, and it's not good to just rely on them like that. They're actually inefficient now compared to how they were. And fully mad at the idea that nobody's listening to him and taking him seriously, Browning, gets the help of a Mr. What was it, Raymond Asakawa? Yeah, to basically be his lapdog, not in a literal sense, but more just tell him what he wants to hear so that the mission gets approved and all the fears are quelled about these possible dangers involving the exploration of the Sommerfield. And what happened is tragedy and justice in equal measure. Bakshi sees that Asakawa is almost pleading with him to stop this whole thing, but Bakshi says, nah, it just it's like doesn't want anything to do with it. What comes comes, right? And Browning, then another dude, Jason Facola, a guy who I could only find named Sanchez, and so Oscar Browning, Facola, and Raymond Asakawa board a small vessel to go check out that is just equipped with SRAs. And what happens is in quick succession, but within the range of the Sommerfield, the SRAs failed, like all tech apparently does, even though no one listened to it. Asakawa is turned into glass and shatters, Sanchez is turned inside out, Browning's bones dissolved, and Vocola survived, being left a quadriplegic and drinking food through a straw. Now, the thing more or less ends with Vocola giving a declaration to Devorn, the guy who, I think he was really pushing the SRAs, and that, he will personally bite out his throat if he ever sees them. And that Bakshi really has nothing to, be guilty about, but you know how that is. Yeah, and it's very much like a Stephen King story, I think, right? Problematic people, get got for the most part. There is a visible kind of tragedy, of innocent people caught up in the schemes of bad people. Very much, and all ends very graphically. That's very much a Stephen King thing. Yeah, and I actually really enjoyed it. I would consider it, if I were to like make a collection at some point, I'd really like to include this in like a personal collection of short stories. Not of like mine personally, but like just ones I really enjoy. And yeah, that's the end. Stephen King style. I hope you like this. This was a little more different. And if you're still listening by this point, I just kind of use this channel as my, little backdrop to do certain things. My habits change, so I might not always talk about Goosebumps. In fact, I haven't talked about it for quite some time. Or like, yeah, I just really just kind of use this as my talking platform. What I'm interested in at the moment, right now, it's growing plants. You can't see them, but there's garlic there, peppers. I'm trying to get mint and a huge ass lima bean. You can see where the string is and where I'm trying to train and stuff. But yeah, have a good one.